Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Latinos, the Arab Americans, in confusion of faces scattered throughout the four corners of the earth through captivity, not to be confused with those fucking imposters that are falsely occupying the Holy Land. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahbashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rucha Kadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders that create both still and that rule well. I wanted to provide a flip side to the brother's video entitled, "This is Why We Need Spiritual Powers." But on the contrary, we don't need the spiritual powers just to combat Esau's little bullshit, robotic soldiers and all this other faggot shit. But this fucking demon is coming out with that shit because he knows that there's men who are going to get those powers. All right? And they have in the past. Listen, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, this is not a new thing. Him activating his men. Okay, this happened in the history, and this is why this is the heathen's greatest fucking fear. Okay, when you really go into it, the first estate of the elect was the Alahayim, okay, and they had the ability of the control of the elements, right? The power to create straight up worlds. And if they had the power to create worlds, they definitely which is the assembly of elements, they know they have the ability to take elements apart, okay, and perform other abilities, really infinite when you think about it, right? The power of flight, the power of teleportation, the power of telekinesis, all right, emitting beams. So look, that's why Esau Edom is coming out with these advancements, this technology to try to combat the men of Yahbashim Yahushai. But we know it's going to prove to be no fucking consequence. It's going to be completely fucking futile. All right? But that's what the deal is. Okay? The plan of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai always supersedes the plan of man. Okay? And the Most High has prophesied that after he sends fishers, he's going to send hunters on the scene to hunt them. And if anything, the shit that he has that he's about to roll out is going to be more fun for the elect in that time. More toys for them to play with, so to speak, okay? Because they're going to take those robots apart and these different technology, tanks and all this other fucking shit. Men with performance-enhancing tech on them and everything else. They're going to take that shit apart like toys, you know? Boston Robotics just put out a clip of one of their latest models doing these military exercises, the duck and roll, the belly crawl, and these different acrobatic shit. But they're not going to stand a chance against the men of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in that day, okay? Or henchmen for them to play with. More sentinels for the men of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to fuck up, okay? Because we know in the history, not only in the prophecies, but in the history, the Most High put the spirit on men to fuck shit up, okay? And it's the greatest fear of Esau Edom, the so-called fucking white man and the other heathen nations, is when, and it's for the men of the Most High to get activated, all right? Because we know, look, one of the greatest things that struck terror in the hearts of the heathen was when Egypt was destroyed, okay? That event had the entire fucking planet shook and in fear of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and the Israelites, okay? is they said, what great destruction he brought upon these people's enemies, right? That's what was the consensus of these fucking heathens, man. All right. So that's why it was in their plans, according to Psalm 83, to click up in a confederacy to attempt to cut the nation of Israel off from being a nation, to fucking destroy them, right? And one of the major ways they attempted to do so was by hiding, to cut off their heritage, right? Hide their identity from them. But through this great awakening, we know that the elect is being risen up. We don't know if it's going to be us. We believe it is. We, through faith, of course, but we know, and Lord willing, of course, but we know for a fucking fact, you can bet your fucking life on it, that the Most High is going to do this with certain men that are on this planet, okay, with his men. And it's heavy that the same men that performed these destructive, these miracles, okay, the same men that fuck shit up in the history, those same spirits are occupying flesh today, okay, and they're gonna get activated again, and then and many more. All right, so this is in Revelation 11:5. It said that if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Okay? So we got to expel and rebuke that fucking fear that creeps in. Because in this fucking flesh that we have, in these chains of darkness, fear can creep in about this destruction that's coming on the scene, okay, in the end. All the different calamities, the famine, the pestilence and plague, the enemy coming in like a flood, all this fucking shit fear can creep in and have you thinking, shit, how can I survive that shit, that fear crept in even in men in the times of old. Esdras said, woe is me, who shall deliver me in that day? But we gotta fucking rebuke that fear. Of course, have that the godly fear, right? Righteous fear, and be contrite, to remain contrite and humble, of course. Cautious, right? Circumspect. But what is the fucking point of this thing if you don't believe that you could be, and you are, them, a part of the allotment that is not only going to be granted with salvation, but that is going to be granted that you could be a part, and that you are a part of that allotment that's going to be endowed with spiritual power. If you don't fucking believe that, what is the fucking point? Okay? That's why the scriptures say, only believe. You have to have that faith that you are a part, that you are a part of that number. Of course, Lord will, because regardless if you are a part of that number or not, if I am, there's men that's going to happen to. You can bet your fucking life on it. Okay? And with that, it says they're going to be concealed from destruction. They're going to be hidden in its pavilion. Okay? No evil shall touch them. That they'll eat in the time of famine. And if there's no fucking food, then food can rain down from the heavens. Okay? So at all these warnings that we hear, all this of destruction and calamity, even recently, right? All these fucking job closures, these company closures, the grinding cease, all these fucking layoffs, right? The collapsing of the economy, disruptions in the food supply chain, right? Leading into this famine. All these things are going to say, fuck, what, you know, we're through. But on the contrary, the Most High makes a way out of no way, okay? And we have the accounts of old to recall to mind that he's going to do the same thing. And that he doesn't, what does it say? Look at the generations of old, as any has, you know, who has trusted in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and been forsaken? Okay, no one. In verse 6, finishing it off, these have the power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, okay, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. There you go, okay. We know his men were endowed with different abilities, with spiritual power, okay, to either to take flight, to put to flight, okay, to be concealed, hidden, protected from destruction, okay, to be padded against famine, right, to essentially, what is that, to materialize food out of thin air, okay? All these different accounts to call heaven, to call fire from heaven, all right? The plagues and the destruction that was brought upon Egypt, okay, to part an ocean, okay, to grant safe passage. All right, so we have to believe these things. And if it ain't us, then we know he's going to do it with some. All right, and with that is going to bring in him manifesting them, right? That's going to bring in the manifestation of the sons of living power, which all of creation is waiting on, because it's going to bring about true global, and not only global, but universal peace for the entire fucking universe. All right. So Esau Edom needs all this military tech and all this other fucking shit. See, we don't need the spiritual powers for him. He needs that shit for us, and it's still not going to do shit against what the Most High has coming on the scene. All right, so with that, all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Brachah Kadash. Shalom.